Hello, everybody. This is Matthew Brand. Welcome to the Amethyst Podcast, episode 6. And today I want to talk about tarot cards. Now, I've talked about tarot cards to many people in my personal life, and there are three camps people usually fit into. One is witchcraft, oogie boogie, stay away from it. The second is they use some type of Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of the cards to draw several cards, lay them out in front of somebody in some way, whether it be through magic or luck, or again like some Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of the cards. They divine how it relates to you and what your future is. And then there's a camp I fall into where to me is just a psychological picture book. Each card represents stages in the particular journey somebody may be going through, whether it be love, money, health, status. Status as talk as far as fame or popularity or respect, something along those lines, right? That one's a little bit fuzzier to talk about. But the point is, people go on journeys, trying to achieve, trying to further their lives. And sometimes they find themselves stuck, get some anxiety, they get maybe trapped in the cycle, they feel like they're not moving forward, depressed, lonely. They get in these situations and they don't know how to escape them. And one of the best things you can do when you're in a position and it's hard to move forward is see what people did before you. But sometimes you don't have those examples, or sometimes you're just not seeing it. And tarot cards, since they represent archetypes of journeys that everybody goes through, right? The hero's journey, or the story of 1,000 faces, however you want to phrase it, right? People go through these and you see where people can fit in these struggles, right? It's a very common thing that people go through, and you can take one the card that matches up to the person and explain maybe easier where they are in life. And the picture helps because sometimes reading it is good, but reading it takes self-inflection, and it's hard to see yourself in third person. That's why having somebody else read the card, explain it to you, explain where you are may help, but most people don't look at the cards that way. So this is why I may be talking about this moving a little bit more moving forward, right? To kind of help people. Maybe they'll understand where they are by hearing somebody else talk about it. The issue is most people talking about tarot cards talk about it in, again, this weird mystical mumbo jumbo Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of the Cards way. So that being said, each card may represent a different part of a journey that you make. It may be a mini journey, or it may be like a new stage in your life. You may want a relationship, or maybe you're already in a relationship but it's new. Maybe you're boyfriend, girlfriend, but maybe you're engaged. Maybe you're married. Maybe you're married with a kid. These are all different love situations, but the tarot cards don't represent the stage you are in your life. It just represents the stage you are perhaps in a particular journey. But it requires analysis to match the right card to you. That's why I don't really care much for just drawing random cards. The way the drawing of the random cards works is all these cards do apply to pretty much all people, right? So just like saying, hey, did you have like a scuff on your, or a mark or a scar on your shoulder or elbows or knees, right? That applies to everybody. And you're just not always thinking about it. So when someone draws a random card and attaches it to you, it seems right because you've hit that point at somewhere in your life, most likely, even if you're a young teen or adult. It really reflects on something you've already gone through, right? You've lived enough of life as a 16-year-old to have gone through some form of the journey where you've hit most of the cards already in some part of your life. But now you're moving to bigger, more important, more responsible things, and you're starting journeys over. It may be not what your exact struggle is at the moment. Now, that being said, these cards are very effective, but they're also effective in storytelling. Yeah, I will talk about this further in the future, or reference this show further in the future. If you're a nerd, it may help. But Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is probably one of the better storytelling shows, even if you don't like cartoons, it really, really reflects a lot of different positions that people are in their life. Each person in that show honestly represents a tarot card, sometimes a little too well for me to think it's a coincidence. But again, this hero's journey is very typical. And these tarot cards represent different stages of the hero's journey. But in Avatar, each card kind of represents a different character and what they need to move forward in their own personal journey, right? So Aang, if you've not seen the show, he's the protagonist. In the Fool card, they coincide with each other. He has a stick, the Fool card has a stick. He packs up to go on an adventure, thinks he has it all figured out. Aang, that's the Fool card. I was not expecting that either. That's the Fool card, right? If you don't see the Fool card, what's typically going on is a gender ambiguous character, which also relates to how they comment on Aang is voiced by a girl. He's a boy who's voiced by a girl, but has a lot of, I would say, more feminine traits. And this is not to be gender, whatever, typical. I don't go into the whole gender ideology, but there's feminine traits and there's masculine traits. Aang, even though he's a boy in the show, has a lot of feminine traits. And he also has a lot of masculine traits. The card is gender ambiguous because it just represents somebody about to walk off a cliff. They're leaving, they're going on a journey, but something rough is going to happen, and Aang gets frozen in ice. He's just trying to run away from his responsibilities, and he usually that's also kind of part of the Fool card is they think they have some way all figured out that other people just didn't understand. People before them just they aren't on it. They're not as smart as them, and they're going to outwit the system. And that's what Aang is trying to do. He's trying to outwit the system. He's the chosen one, so to speak, in this universe, and he doesn't want to be. So he thinks he'll outwit the system, so he doesn't have to deal with it. And same with a lot of people who, they go on a journey. They think they have money all figured out when they're younger, or they think they have relationships all figured out when they're younger, or they think they have fame, or or the right workout or whatever going on all figured out when they're younger. You get a lot of people. I think maybe just a few years ago from me recording this, fitness was really popular, and a lot of people thought they had the best shortcut that they could imagine going out, but it wasn't good for their health, even in the more immediate future, right? So that being said, I think even, what was his name? PewDiePie. He's a famous YouTuber. I don't really watch him, but he was talking about how all these teenagers are walking around looking like orcs, right? The boys. They're doing all this stuff because there's this now competition out for being like super in shape and looking as attractive as possible, especially with these superhero shows out where all these men are doing these insane things to go for this role, but they have millions of dollars, the best doctors, personal trainers watching them every part of the way, and it makes a difference. Other people don't have that, so they're compensating, and it's not good for their health. The reason I'm saying that is because even in health, the people fit these little journeys that they go on, and they walk off a cliff, and so to speak, and things don't go as well because they're underprepared. Even Steve Harvey, when he talks about comedy, he talks about, when I prepared, me doing this practice, me training, and him training in comedy. I'm sorry, not me, but him training in comedy gives him the parachute. So everybody still walks off the cliff, but when you're prepared, the journey down is a lot smoother. But when you're underprepared, it's going to be rough. And everybody has to take the rough jump the first part of their journey. No one can really be prepared because you can't prepare yourself for a journey you're unfamiliar with. Once you do it a few times, once you go out in the woods a few times and you become a woodsman, yeah, you're still going out in the woods. Nothing has changed as far as where you're headed, but the preparation of your knowledge and what you've learned has changed things. That's why the kind of opposite of Fool card is the hermit. You're coming back with the knowledge that you've learned, and now you can show others in your experience. So that's what that's all about, right? So I'm going to talk kind of about tarot going forward because I see there is a lot of people suffering from bad issues and anxiety and different things like that. And I'm not a psychologist. I think if you want a psychologist, please, find a good one. And I also will say, if you don't do well with a therapist your first time around, that doesn't mean you can't find one that works out for you. There's one thing I did like from this show I didn't care for is another cartoon, is an adult one called Tuca and Birdie. I think sometimes though we tend to over glorify uh, therapy as if you're going to go there and then you're going to leave and your world is going to be, um, completely changed for the better at any point in time. Therapists are human. They can give bad advice, and even when they're doing what they're supposed to do and giving, the best possible, doesn't mean that your life is going to, it's a magic pill to make everything better. It helps. Just like, getting healthy food helps. Anything can help, but it has to be tempered with knowledge. Even going to the therapist is another journey, and being prepared for that helps. But I do think tarot cards, when used, uh, I want to say responsibly, and not used in this weird mumbo jumbo way, can be a very effective tool in helping you move past a part of your life that you feel stuck in. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. This is Matthew Brand signing out. A like, a share, a subscribe, that will really help. But other than that, God bless you and you have a wonderful day.